Hello, 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 hello. Right, sorry, running a little bit late today. Hopefully you can hear me. I should probably let you go. I've got like half my dinner in there. Let's move over here. It's gonna be a lot better. You don't have to see my my background, my kitchen. But today, obviously, going to go through. I'm obviously doing a live today, which is about supporting you in your Amazon businesses. Now, obviously, today what we're talking about is very much around doing store lists, and I just want to kind of share some of the things that I'm doing with my business, which is helping help me. But I think also as well, the question is what can you learn from what I've done in not only my USA business but also the UK, which is going to help you building a store list that's going to really help get you growing with your business. Now, if I give you an example, we had this problem so many times in the UK whereby we just we had deals coming in we just couldn't buy from. There's problems with suppliers. A good example is like a supplier in the UK called Boots that just you'd place lots of orders and it would be cancelled, and you're just wasting your time. And at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours a day, and it's the most important point. So building a store list is probably one of the most fundamental things that we've done, which help grow the revenue. And we do it also with the USS, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But before I do, obviously, if you are joining the call and you are here, do drop a comment down below. I would love to obviously see who's here. So if I just kind of do a couple of shout outs, let me know. So we've got I'm Not Telling You My Name is here. So thank you very much for I'm Not Telling You My Name. Looking forward to this one. So obviously I'm going to share with you kind of like what we're doing. So great to see you. Let me know obviously where you're from, and obviously if there's any questions I can help you out with store list that's going to help you. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly check that we are live also on Facebook to see there. So let me just have a quick look. I'm just going to kind of load up into the USA group and just make sure that's live. So if you want to know, I'm going live also as well on UK and USA. USA Facebook group and YouTube. Yeah, I can see I am live there. So that is great to see. So thank you very much. We've got Scott Jackson. Hi, Scott. If there's anything I can help you with, please look down below. I do like to do these live sessions to really support you in your business. I do another one later on today in what's known as the VA Academy for anyone who has virtual assistants to support them. But do, if there's anything I can help you with, maybe outside of creating a store list, please let me know. But today I'll go through the store list kind of first of all and help you guys out. Now, I'm Not Telling You My Name has also mentioned I've had the Boots problem. Are there any workarounds here? And I'll kind of talk you through a couple of things which I've been doing, which kind of helped out, but I can't guarantee there are definite workarounds. But I think also the other one you've got to think about is just managing your business efficiently. If at the end of the day, the supplier doesn't want to work with you, doesn't want you to spend their money because maybe they're anti-resellers, then you just got to kind of ask the question, is it really worth even sourcing for them? Or even looking at the deals? Because the question which I would really ask is, it's like me telling you, oh, there's these amazing deals on this website which you can't actually purchase anything, and you're like, well, if I can't purchase it, why am I even bothering? But the end result, and we talk about this in the VA Academy, is that deals don't really matter. What matters is deals that you can buy, and it's not only particularly that, it's deals that you can spend a lot of money on. Why? Because the more money you can spend, statistically speaking, will mean you'll generally get more revenue, and then as a result, you'll probably get more profits. Now, obviously, you can do an exception to that, is to say that if you are putting in there to say you get one product that you're not spending much on, but it's like a 200% ROI, obviously you're going to get much more, you're going to get great profits out of that versus something like 15% ROI, of course. But generally speaking, our businesses probably operate around 30 to 50% ROI. And the one real measure of success isn't so much about the number of deals, it's about how much we can spend on those deals. Even at 50% ROI, if we can only spend $100 or £100, or a 30% ROI, we can spend $1,000, actual physical cash profits, you're going to make a lot more off the £1,000 lower ROI product. So that's why it's really important to think about not just the deals. I don't really like the measure of how many deals have I found, how many deals have I bought today. That doesn't mean anything. I'm always tracking spend. Spend is a much closer metric towards revenue, which then generally equates to actual physical profit. So, and also from my perspective, like when I'm doing purchasing, my God, the more money I can spend, my goal is like, I've got £1,000 in the bank, $1,000. I just want to get it spent. That's the important point. Whereas if I can't spend the $1,000, or if I can only spend like 100, the 100 isn't really worthwhile. If I can go spend 1,000, I'm feeling happy. But maybe I've got two great deals, great ROI, and they're only £100. It's not as good. So something there just to think about in regards to when you're building your supplier list. Your supplier list and the aim of it isn't so much about finding great deals. Is the metric of success for a supplier list is quite fundamentally is spend, because spend equates to higher revenue, which generally equates to more profits, cash. And at the end of the day, what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to take all the money we've got, pump it into stock, sell it on Amazon, get the money back, and repeat the process. And if we've got all our money in stock at all times, that normally say in business, cash is king, stock is king in Amazon. The more stock you've got in Amazon, the more sales you're going to have, and as a result, the quicker you're going to get that money back, plus your ROI to reinvest. So something super, super important. But what I will say is, obviously, if you are watching, you've got questions, please let me know down below. And hey, let me know if you've got like a supplier list already, how you're doing that. We do in Fast Track FBA the 100 top suppliers, which I think is great. If you are getting that, you can get the free version. There is a paid for upgrade as well. The other one, which I'd probably say is, that's a really good starting point. We do a USA and a UK. Go on the YouTube channel, just type in Fast Track FBA 100 top suppliers. Look at that. That's going to be really helpful. But that's the foundation. And now it's about developing that and really pushing it forward. So I'll kind of share some experiences we've had recently in the USA and what we're going to do, but also as well, what might be helpful for you in your businesses with the UK as well. But let me know in the comments down below, do you have a supplier list, or how are you managing those suppliers at the moment? And if I kind of give you some numbers, which are going to be quite interesting for you, is to kind of understand, which kind of explain why supplier lists are important. So if I kind of give you a bit of background, then we'll jump into supplier lists. And if you guys have got questions, please drop them down below. So first things first is to say, if you have, or why is it important to have a supplier list? Well, number one, the first thing, the reason why it's important to have a supplier list is it gives you a direction where to go. Like, when I'm going to start sourcing, where should I start sourcing? Where should I spend more time? Well, number one, the supplier list, which is going to be good for you, is about spending your time in the right places. We all have 24 hours in the day. Where should I spend those 24 hours? And if you know certain suppliers are good suppliers for you, spend more time on them. Number two, those suppliers statistically deliver you more spend. And the more spend you have generally means more revenue, and it generally means more cash profits. Because you can spend more, the whole point behind that is to say that what you should be looking at is that if you just jump on those suppliers first, you can spend more money, but it's going to make more efficient use of your time. Again, we only have 24 hours in the day. If you can jump on those suppliers, it's going to help you out. Now, there is a balance between higher spend and also getting the profit right. And for you, it's about balancing that with your actual cash profit. So if you want to know, within the USS, and when we created the USS, which is called the Ultimate Sourcing Sheet, and you can look on the Fast Track FBA website, is whereby fundamentally, what are we doing? We're doing an analysis of where you physically spend your cash, i.e. where you're spending your cash the most on your buy sheet is going to help you understand who your top suppliers are. But also as well, because the sheet itself connects to our own APIs, we can also get you the profits from those products you sold. And what we can do is we can tally up all the profits from all your suppliers, and then tell you not only which ones you're spending the most amount of money from, but which suppliers are giving you the highest profits, or even the highest profits as a percentage of spend, hence ROI. So that's something really important to think about. So initially, if you're just building a supplier list, the best way to look at it is with spend. It's the easiest way to do it, and I'll talk you through how to do that in a second. We've got Lenny here. Hey, Lenny, great to see you. Lenny, great to have you here. Thank you very much for joining me. If you've got any questions, maybe it might not be around supplier list, maybe it might be something else in your business that you're struggling with, drop it down in the comments below. I will get them answered. Honestly, these calls are here to help you, and I kind of have topics to help facilitate discussion and hopefully provide training and guidance to support you. But I think the question is about really just supporting you in your businesses. If I can add value, fantastic. There's no like buy this or anything. So Lenny, let me know if there's any questions. Drop it down below. But hey, thanks for joining. So coming back. What do I recommend in regards to a supplier list? Well, fundamentally, what we're trying to look at is building a list which is going to be supporting you in your business to where to spend your time and to spend your money. If we can spend more money, we're generally going to make more profits. It's going to make your business more efficient, and you're going to be working more time efficiently. So I really recommend that. That's going to be a benefit. Now, the other one, on the other hand, and we do, especially my USA business right now, we have like what's known as a blocked supplier list. So it will be a supplier list by when we're just not sourcing from them. So if you think about having a Google Sheet where it's got all your top suppliers, it might have another tab where it's a supplier list that we don't want to buy from. And the reason why we have this is a couple of reasons. Number one, they're just problematic. And we talked about it earlier on with I'm not telling you my name. You know, he mentioned, or they mentioned it here, Boots, a problem. If you want to know, in my UK supplier list, Boots, personally in my Amazon business, is one of the ones we block. Why? Because if I can purchase products, I can generally only buy 3. And if I can only buy 3, I can't spend very much. And then the other hand is to say that 9 times out of 10, I get my orders cancelled. And what I'm looking at is how much money can I spend per hour worked? And what I find is that with Boots, I have to place lots of little orders. And then in addition to that, I have a lot of them cancelled. So my actual physical spend, not just initially, but maybe after a week, is actually really, really low. So I'm really interested in just making sure I can get the spend much, much higher. Thomas, great to see you. I've got your question there. Give me about 5 minutes. I just want to kind of get through the first part of building a supplier list, and then I'll jump back to your question. So great question. Thank you very much. And Thomas, thank you for joining. And if anyone else has got any questions, please, please, please drop them down below. So just going back to the supplier list. Google spreadsheet, 2 tabs. One is your top suppliers or suppliers that you want to source from. One is one that you don't want to source from. Why? Because you just want to make sure you got them. If it's you with VAs, they know where to not look. Another top tip is you can have like a Chrome extension and put, like you have like blockers. You could put those suppliers as the blocker, so it blocks you from buying or even sourcing from them. That's another good top tip. So in the block list, I'm looking at stores which keep cancelling my orders, stores which I just can't order enough stock because they're rubbish, or stores that, if you want to know, I have problems with delivery address doesn't match billing address, and I just can't get orders through. And even if I try PayPal, they keep cancelling it. This is about finding suppliers which work for you really well and getting rid of all the suppliers which are a hassle. So on the negative, i.e. block suppliers we're not going to use, I would have Boots in there. I know you're looking for a workaround. I know you look at those deals and think they're so amazing, I want to buy them. But I'm going to tell you a hard truth. You can't scale your business buying 3 items all the time. It just doesn't work. And let's say, for example, right now you might have $1,000 or £1,000 to buy, and you can put in the little orders. That's cool. But your problem comes as you grow, you're going to want to start spending more and more money. And let's say, for example, you're doing really well. You're spending 5,000, 10,000. You can't do that with these suppliers that keep canceling your orders. You're going to be just constantly doing the same thing over and over again. And it's not going to be beneficial for your business. It's going to be hassle for you. It's going to be stress. You're going to have to deal with, just think about the logistics. I source something, I buy it, and then I find out it gets cancelled. And then I've got to check the accounts to make sure the money's been refunded. And then I've got to remove it all from my sourcing, my buy sheet. It's just administration for what? No benefit. And at the end of the day, we've got to try and make this business as efficient and as smooth as possible, simple. And by using suppliers which are a real pain, just doesn't work. Now, it's not to say that you might have a way of making Boots work. And if you figured out a way of doing that, which I would probably say keep to yourself, or one of these bad suppliers, keep to yourself. It might be that you know someone in there and you can email in the supply. Fantastic. Keep doing it. But if the general way of sourcing is causing you hassle, stop spending money with them. Really, really simple. Spend your money with someone who wants it. That's it. Because as you grow this business, while you might be getting a couple through now, it's not a long-term viable option. It just doesn't work long-term. So I just say, bite the bullet, take it on the chin now, move on, find someone else who can do it. Even if they have great deals, it's not a great deal if you can't buy it, and if you can't sell it, it isn't. So move on. So the block supplier list for you, before we move on to the supplier itself, block supplier list, really thinking about ones that minimal, the quantities are too low, you just can't buy enough stock, cancelling orders they don't accept your payment because the shipping and billing just don't work. Maybe they won't ship to your warehouse and it's a pain, or your house. The other ones are, they're super slow. They're just not facilitating ease of use, your ease of business. And at the end of the day, any supplier which isn't making my business run smoothly is a supplier I'm not interested in working with. Even if they've got great products, I'm just not really interested, because at the end of the day, I want to make this business simple. Anyone can make it complex, but keeping it simple is hard. So choosing your suppliers carefully is really important. Now, if you ever listen to like business things or like starting your own business, and I'm sure you have because we're all entrepreneurial, if you talk about like the consulting space, you always hear those stories of how I fired my clients, how I got rid of the bad clients because they were just wasting my time. 10% of the clients cause 80% of the problem, 20% of the clients cause 80% of the problems. It's just, they just fire those clients. They don't work with them, and they work with the good clients now, which are simple. They know what to expect and it works. Whether it be in consulting or whether it be in arbitrage or wholesale with us, it's exactly the same model. You're going to have suppliers which are just an absolute pain. Don't work with them. Move on. Find someone better. Find someone who wants your money. And the reason why these suppliers don't is they might have contractual agreements with their suppliers, or they're just someone at the top says, we're not selling to resellers, anything over this amount, we're going to remove. So stop working with them. And for me, what do we do in my business? That supplier list, or the negative supplier list, is people who can't supply, won't take our business, cancel orders, cause too many problems, don't refund issues we've got to keep chasing. We will literally have a Chrome extension, which is like a website blocker. We'll just put their supplier on, and my VAs will stop sourcing for them. I'll stop sourcing for them. I'm not interested in finding deals from them. So I really recommend that on the negative side. What I'll do now is talk about the positive side in a second, but I do just want to jump on and answer Thomas's question, because I appreciate he's asked it, and then I'll come back to do the positive side and how to build that supplier list for you. So hopefully that's been useful. If you've got any questions so far about supplier lists, please drop them down below. I'm really interested to help and support you, or even if it's not a supplier list, please let me know in the comments below. I think that's going to be super, super important. So let's just jump over to Thomas's question, and then I'll come back to supplier lists. So Thomas asked a quick question. I've been selling on Amazon for about 4 months now, and I've just been selling toys. Any advice on how to move on to other categories? Well, I'd probably ask the simple question, Thomas, for yourself, is how did you start selling on toys? You transitioned to that, obviously you got yourself ungated. Get yourself ungated in other categories. If you're in the UK, you can look at Harrison's Direct. If you're in the USA, EU distribution are an option. I would also, toys are great. Right now they're having a lot of problems with, like, in the EU, declaration of conformities. You've got to do a lot of paperwork for them. The other one as well is it's quite a competitive niche. It's a really good niche to go into, or category to go into for Q4, and well done for getting ungated. It's up to you and your business what you want to do. The other typical ones that people move into are generally like health and personal care and beauty. Small items, high value, they work quite well. Just be very mindful of like IP alerts. And in particular, look at the Fast Track FBA brand checker. Go to the Fast Track FBA website, resources, brand checker, and you can see all the brands that we say don't buy, and we're updating that all the time. And then the other one, I'd probably say, they generally look at beauty, health and personal care. The other one a lot of people go into is grocery. But if you ask me, you are going to find a lot of deals in them, but also you'll find a lot more competition. I generally believe there's value in really weird places. So you might look at like DIY, you might look at automotive. And the reason why I say that is because those categories are ones that people don't typically go into. So you'll generally find less competition from like the arbitrage side. And once or even like stationery or office equipment, once you find a deal, you might not find as many deals, but you'll probably find the price is more stable, and you'll probably find that the deal lasts for longer because of less competition. So I think that's going to be an option for you to look at. So advice on how to move into other categories: simply health and personal care, beauty, and groceries is the other one a lot of people go into. Number 2, get yourself ungated. Obviously, you've got sales, that's working fine for you. But then my personal opinion, probably do look at them, get yourself ungated. you'll find definite deals. But the other hand is try looking for something else. That's going to be really helpful for you. Try looking at something else. So whether that be like DIY automotive, just because they're a bit out there, they're a bit different, stationary. My God, I know over the last 6 months, people have been killing it 100% ROI on inkjet printers. A lot of people right now in the summer, they're talking about swimming pools. I'm hearing in the US, and I'm seeing it, people are buying swimming pools for $300, selling them for $2,000. You've got to merge and fulfill them because they're pretty heavy, but the ROIs are insane, literally insane. So seasonal items can be very good. Obviously, right now it's quite nice in the UK. USA is going to be fantastic. Maybe, obviously, you've got Halloween's a really big one. You can look at that coming up. There's lots of money to be made in these different seasonal items. Back to school. I don't really know what's going on with COVID and the situation. I'm in Mexico right now, but definitely a lot of opportunities definitely to go around. The typical ones are beauty, health, and personal care and grocery, but it doesn't mean that should be where you're going. And it doesn't also mean that's where the money is. So try and think outside the box, see what's going on, see what's happening. You'll probably see that that's going to make a big difference. And the swimming pool one, I will not lie, I missed the boat on that, or I'm missing the boat on that, and I spoke to my team, but so we need to learn. We'd sold them last year, completely forgot about them this year, just been so caught up with everything else. But I think the restock limits have had a bit of an impact for us as well. So hopefully that's been helpful. Thomas, let me know in the comments down below if that's been helpful. So obviously I will, I know that's useful. Sean's just popped in as well. Hey Sean, great to see you. Selling in Europe is going to get easier next month, more sales, yay. And if you don't know, in the UK, Amazon have talked about their global selling. I think it is, Sean, I think you're talking about the global selling here, whereby Amazon are basically going to buy the stock from you in Europe, if that's right. So they'll buy it from your UK and then ship it to the customer. So Amazon will do the logistics and the export, for example, rather than you. But I might be wrong. If Sean, there's something else that you've seen, let me know in the comments down below. But hey, Sean, great to have you here, and thanks for joining. Thomas has just jumped back in. Great, thanks for help. Cool, glad I could help. Honestly, if there's anything else I can do, please drop it in the comments down below. But I will jump back onto sourcing lists and the positive side, and what we do and how we look at it. So now, if I just kind of recap, Google Sheet, and I recommend Google Sheet because if you've got VAs, you can share it with them. 2 tabs, good supplier list, bad supplier list. Bad supplier list we've already talked about. These are suppliers, and I hate to say it, I'm not telling you my name, talked about Boots. I would generally put the suppliers who do not want to sell you bulk items, do not want to allow you to or keep cancelling your orders, supplier, they kind of let you put the order through and then it gets cancelled, for example, or just don't take your credit cards because mismatch in supplier and business address. Put them on there. I put the reason why next to, and the reason is because if something changes in the future, i.e. you're able to get a credit card whereby it does work. Some of my credit cards, I can actually put my warehouse address in as the billing address, and it works. It isn't the registered address, but it does just work. So then I can go back through that negative supplier list and recheck those suppliers and go, cool, we can now start sourcing from it. But I would just say for those negative suppliers, those ones you don't want to work with, have a list, really important, the reason why, and then also don't source from them. The reason is, quite simply, you cannot scale your business with people who do not want to take your money. So don't bother wasting your time. You only have 24 hours in a day. Don't spend your time sourcing with suppliers which don't work, even if they have good deals. Good deals that you can't buy are relevant. But on the positive list, what are we looking at? Now, what I'd really recommend for you is on that supplier list, what do we do in my business and what do we do in the USS, the alternate sourcing sheet, and how do we do it, support it with other people? Is to say, quite simply, what we're looking at is get your buy sheet. Get your buy sheet of all the deals you're buying. And I'd probably update your supplier list every single month. Get your buy sheet, find out what you're buying. And if you're doing RA or if you're doing OA, it doesn't really matter. You can do it with wholesale as well. What you want to do is just take all your physical spends, probably since you can do it from the beginning of time, but I'd probably say 12 months is about fair because suppliers change over time. Is take all suppliers and just sum up how much you've spent with them. And generally speaking, the suppliers you spent the most amount of money with are your top suppliers. So what you're looking to do is take all those suppliers from your buy sheet, put them onto your positive list, and then just add up next to that what's the total value of spend. Now, the reason why I say this is at a fundamental level, really simply, if you're not looking at profits generated, and I know we should, but to initially start, the more money you can spend with a supplier, the more sales you'll make, generally the more profit. If we're assuming you're doing like, let's call it 30% ROI for everyone across the board, the more spend equals more profit. Now, with that in mind, what you're really trying to think about is the 80-20 principle. 20% of your suppliers, you'll spend 80% of your cash, which will generate most of your revenue. 80% of your suppliers will spend 20% of your cash, which will just generate a lot of work, but not so much return. And what you're really trying to do is just be efficient in this business. Spend your money where you can, spend it on bigger bulks. If you've got 10,000 SKUs and maybe you find that only 2,000 of them generate you 80% of the revenue, well, cool. It doesn't matter if you lose 20% of your revenue, but you're going to save so much more time. You can try and look for more products which are going to make you more money and going to scale up. So don't be afraid to worry about, I need to spend a little bit here, and this is a possible deal. Like, you're just kind of running the hamster wheel. Really be focusing on where the value comes in, and that's the 80-20 principle. So for you, in that supplier list of all your suppliers, then I'd go back to your buy sheet and I'd look at all the physical spend, and that top supplier or top couple of suppliers is where I'd be spending most of my time. And what would I be doing? The actions I'd really recommend for you every single day, maybe with my VAs, maybe me, I'd probably load up those suppliers, call it top 10, spend how many you've got, just the top ones you spent a lot of your, you talk about 80-20 principle, so maybe the top 20% of suppliers, maybe 10. Every day, just load them up and quickly go to like your voucher codes, call them Honey, Chrome extensions, something like that. What you're looking for is, do they have extra vouchers in? Why? Because you know that this supplier you can spend a lot of money with. And if they've got a discount on today or a special sale on today, you're going to probably have to go big, super, super big, and it's going to be an amazing thing. Just checking that for 5 minutes every day gives you the opportunity to go, wow, they got a voucher code. I already know most of the deals that I want to buy because I'm buying a lot with them. Now let's just drive it through. Let's just spend big on the supplier. And they're going to accept your money. They know you're going to do it. And that one day, you might spend an entire week's worth of spend, but it's just one day. It's working super efficient, super effectively. It's going to grow your business. So just be mindful of that. Whereas if you're constantly looking at all the little ones, you don't really spend much money with. But cool, there's a deal on, I found one deal, fantastic. And you're like, I haven't really spent very much money. So top supplier list, top 5, top 10. Really look at the ones which are your top suppliers, right? Top suppliers, and then jump on them every day. Just a quick 1 or 2 minutes. Check the Chrome extension, any discounts like Honey we use it in the USA and UK. Are they doing any discounts? That's what you want to do. Now, if you can, the next level onto that for your supplier list is if you can, from your accounting software, and you can do it in the USS as well because we get the P&L, is what you want to do is try and download your actual sales in regards to profitability. So we've got spend initially, top suppliers by spend, but ideally what you're trying to look at is top suppliers by profitability. So you want to identify which suppliers give you the most amount of physical cash profits. So I'd really recommend for you guys, if you can get that, I don't think you can export it from Seller Toolkit right now if you're using Seller Board perhaps, or if you can do it in the USS because we can work out the profits from the sales. But the idea is download all those sales and then group them into each individual supplier. And once you've done that, they'll know which suppliers give you the most profit. And what you're looking for from that is then to do that 80-20 principle again with those top profitable suppliers. Why? Because they're the products that you're going to, they're the suppliers that you're working with. Now, if you want a golden, and I'm going to give you a golden, and it's probably something that no one really talks about, and I talk about it sometimes, but I will share it. But I see some questions coming from Sean, so I'm going to answer them. If anyone's got any questions, they can. But I will give you one final top tip for top suppliers, which is kind of game changing if you can make it work. And I'll share what we've done in our business, which is going to help you with those top suppliers. And I'll share it with you in a minute. So let me jump onto Sean's questions and then I'll come back and I'll show you that one tip. And people don't really talk about this, and it's OA. It does make a big, big difference. So I will share that in a second, but let me jump onto Sean's questions and go from there. Can I just ask, can you all hear me fine? I'm just hearing some kind of I think it's kind of like strange feedback, but I don't think there should be a problem. But if you can, just let me know in the comments. If you can hear me fine down below. So just let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm hearing some weird feedback or something in my headset, but nothing seems to be going on. So I'm just going to jump in. Lenny said, yeah, all good, fantastic. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much. Okay, so Sean's questions, I'll just answer these and then I'll go on to my one final top tip. And then if you've got any other questions, please put them down below. So Sean mentioned, so this is in regards to selling on EU is going to get easier. Oh, sorry, if I come in here. Yeah, there's something else. We've come onto a deal. We can start selling ourselves in the UK, start in the UK selling in Europe on Amazon. Amazon's going to apply the EU scheme, so Amazon sort out the VAC. It looks interesting. Yeah, agreed. So previously we used to have European fulfillment network whereby you could buy a product, you could ship from the UK to the EU. But now what Amazon are doing is they're going to oh, okay. So you're saying we can actually sell ourselves. Sure, I've got to do some research on that. That's interesting. Really interested to hear about that. Thanks for letting me know. What have you written here? It starts next month. My accountant already knows. I had a meeting with him, but said not good to give information. He told me they're doing a video on it soon. Then everyone else will know about the EU schemes. Can't wait. So fantastic. I will have a look at that. And I think that should be helpful. Yeah, I honestly like that. I think if we can start selling in the EU, and I know a lot of people having big sales previously in the EU, especially through the European fulfillment network, that was absolutely massive. So you got here, I'm all the way down. Sean's saying he's down to 500 SKUs now. That's really impressive. Give me 2 seconds. My laptop's just moving. There we go. Only keeping fast selling SKUs, got 120 SKUs, and they are selling out fast. So I can't send them to FBA again. Wow, you've got 120 SKUs plus. So Sean's talking about restock limits now, bring it down, only fast selling SKUs. So that's great. So, okay, fantastic. Well, hey, Sean, really well done to you and well done on these restock limits. I know we had a lot of questions about them. So if anyone else is like challenging with restock limits, drop it down below. Let me know how you're getting on. So that's really good. Everyone else is saying you can hear me. Thomas, thank you very much. We've got SDK, PS4, and I'm hearing you fine. Okay, cool. So Sean, thanks for the questions. Now, we talked about supplier list, talked about a negative supplier list, talked about a positive supplier list, the one you actually use, you source from. That's where I spend most of my time. Those work. I'm checking for voucher codes, for example. Now, obviously, I'm looking at spend initially. If I can do spend, that's great. But then ultimately, if I can get profits from supplier and do the 80-20 principle, that's going to be really important. Now, the one top thing that I kind of talk about sometimes, but I don't think people really understand the value of it, is I will explain it to you now. And this is like, this could really help scale your business massively. So first things first, you have identified where you're physically spending a lot of cash. That's the important thing. It's got to be you're spending the bulk of your cash. Top 1, 2, 3, 5, maybe 10 suppliers, don't know. And what would I recommend? Minimum, absolute minimum of £1,000, $1,000. If you're not spending that much on the supplier in the last month, it's not really worth it. So be spending that. Now, what are you looking to do? Here's the top tip. Choose a random product, preferably one you bought already. Go to that supplier, your top one, tell them the product and say, hey, I'm interested in buying £1,000. Work out, not the £1,000, work out how many units is £1,000. So if it's a £10 unit product or $10, I want to buy 100 units. Make it so that that order value you want to place is £1,000. Now, what I'm not saying is you're actually going to buy it. You're just asking a question. So you've got £1,000 or $1,000, and you go to that supplier and you say, hey, I'm interested in, I want to buy 100 units or something. It's got to be a large quantity. Can you give me a discount? That is what you're asking for. You're asking for a discount, but do not go into them saying, can I have any discount? Do not go into them saying, do you offer any discount? We are not interested in that. We don't ask questions like that. We are being super specific. We're saying this one product I want to spend a lot of cash on, and I would like a discount on it. What can you offer me? And you might say, you might give them a target price, call it 10% off. Can you offer me at this price? And it doesn't matter even if you're not going to buy it. What you're trying to understand is, does the supplier behind the scenes offer discounts? Because if you understand the supplier is able to offer discounts, then that changes the whole game of how you work with the supplier. So what might the responses be you get from the supplier? They might not say anything. And if they don't reply back to you, keep hammering, keep asking. And I'd probably ask the question 2 or 3 times. Even if they say no, email them later on, like every week, just ask for a different product. Do you offer a discount on this? I'm asking that. Because if they even come back to you and say, no, we can't offer you a product discount on that product, we can't offer you a discount on that product. What does it mean? We might be able to offer you a discount on another product. So you say, thank you so much. Can I just ask, how does it work with quite a range of products that we're interested in you? Would you like me to send a list over, or can you give me a guide of how the discounts work? Now, we have had it with a number of online retailers whereby they will give us a discount, 10%, 15% on top of the prices or off the prices that you're seeing on the websites. And as a result, you can bulk buy with them. Now, this means you can buy products cheaper than everyone else. Now, if I just put it in perspective, and certain sellers, and I won't name them, but one seller who I know, he will go to a store where you can buy a lot of products, and he's able to get basically a 10% discount off the purchase. Now, just because he's built that relationship, because he's asked the question, hey, can I have a discount? And because he gets that, he is now able to buy products 10% cheaper than the competition. And even when the price crashes and everyone's complaining, oh my God, like this, I can't believe this guy, he's selling at a loss, how dare he? Like, you don't know his buy price, and he's still making a profit when you're making nothing. So because he can get that discount, is so powerful. So when you come back to these top supplier lists, the top thing you want to be looking at is asking the question a couple of times, at least a couple of times, not every day, once every couple of weeks. Customer service, different people, dropping them an email. Hey, I want to buy a large volume of this one item. What discount can you offer me? That's it. You got to make it super specific, because if you are asking them to give you a general discount, they just say no because they get those emails all the time. You need to show intent. You need to show, I'm looking to buy one item, discount. And it doesn't even matter if they go, yeah, great, how can we facilitate this? All you're trying to do is, do they even engage? Once they engage, you now know that there's an opportunity there. So they might come back to you and say, yeah, we can do it. Or like, no, sorry, the minimum order quantity is too low, or sorry, we can't offer on that product. The moment you hear that kind of, it's not a clear no, it's a sorry, but it's showing that there is something there, and it's your job to dig for that. It's your job to find out who is the right person, what's the product, what's the brand from that supplier I can get discounts on. And if you can do it, my God, you've now just opened up this supplier to give you discounts that no one else is getting hold of. And as a result, you've already identified that this top selling supplier is someone you spend a lot of cash with, most amount of money. And then number 2, you've also identified that they now give you discounts. So you can buy big, you can buy cheaper, and you can go and sell more products as well. And what that's going to do is going to allow you to grow your business quicker. You're getting cheaper products and you're spending more money and reinvesting it. And it really helps. If you want to know from my personal experience within my business, we've got a lot of online arbitrage suppliers who are giving us discounts, or they're saying you need to go to a wholesale section. But you wouldn't even know they have a wholesale section. You wouldn't even know they have a wholesale team, because you're like, they're just an online store. But they have a wholesale section. I'm not going to give you names. I'm not going to tell you what's going on. But it is game changing in the way that you purchase OA. This is like a blended approach from doing OA through to wholesale, because you're able to get discounts that other people don't even think about, don't even know about. And also as well, because you're only asking those suppliers who are your top suppliers, you already know you can spend the volume. So once that you start getting, yes, I can do it, you're like, cool. Here, and you can go back to your supplier list and say, right, give me the top 5 ASINs that we spent the most amount of money on. I'm just going to ask the same question for all of those 5 ASINs. Can you give me a 10% discount on all these 5? And they'll come back and be like, yeah. And you're like, wow, that is actually going to change my business, because now I'm getting, these are the products that I'm spending the most amount of money on. I'm getting the most revenue and probably a very decent proportion of my profits from, but now I can get it 10% cheaper. Massive difference. And even if there's high competition, it doesn't matter. You're buying it cheaper than everyone else. Problem solved. They might buy it from the same supplier, but they're not getting it at your price. And when you put that price down to everyone else's break even, but you're still making money, they're all complaining, you're making money. That's the important point. This game, the whole of OA, the whole of wholesale, is about finding the nuances. Generally speaking, you can make money. across this business, not a problem. If you want to make good money, it's about getting into the detail, doing these little tricks and tips. You know, adding cash back on if you can, fantastic. It's going to add such a difference. So if I just kind of summarize, and hey, if you've got questions about that, maybe it's something you want to ask, put it in the comments down below. Google spreadsheet, supplier list, Google spreadsheet, 2 tabs, a negative supplier list. Suppliers like Boots, who do not want to take your money, who will not allow you to bulk buy, who do not accept different payment credit cards, different credit card and billing information, will not ship to your address. They're just hassle. They don't deliver. Maybe they don't deal with refunds. They're just not worth your time. Put them on there. Do write the reason why you're blocking them, because if it's like the billing address and payment address, you can then, if you get a credit card like I've got, I can put the billing address as the prep address. Then I can go back and recheck that supplier and see, oh, can we now start sourcing them? So that's the negative side. You don't want to source them, block them. Maybe install a Chrome extension, put the URL in, like a website blocker, block them. On the positive side, take your buy sheet. Preferably over the last 12 months, but not longer than that because the market changes. Maybe like over the last 3 months if you want to do that. Group your suppliers by physical spend, and then literally write that list of suppliers on your top supplier list. Here are my top suppliers. Here's how much I've spent with them over the last 12 months. I would be spending probably the top 10 at most suppliers every day. Check the supplier, look at Honey, voucher codes. If they have a voucher discount, I'm going to go back to my buy sheet. I'm going to go through every single product I've ever purchased with them, and I'm going to see, is that product now with that voucher code going to be profitable? And I'll be spending big because I know I can get a great deal. I know it works. I've spent a lot on it already. I've made money and I've got a discount. So that's what I'm going to be doing daily. If I can, using something like maybe the USS, maybe if I can download it from my profit analysis software, I'd like to group the suppliers by their actual profit. It's going to be more accurate information, but generally it's harder to deliver. But I will do that as well if I can. And then the final top tip, which I shared with everyone just a minute ago, is I'll probably make a habit of it once a week. I will probably look at their top supplier list, maybe the top 5, and I'm just going to email them a different product that I know that I want to buy a lot of. I'm going to give them one product. I'm going to give them a quantity value that I want to spend a lot of money on, at least over £1,000, $1,000. No one's interested in doing bulk below 1,000. Don't even bother. But you've got to even do 2,000, 3,000, fantastic. And what I'm looking for is, will they engage in the idea of giving me a discount on bulk purchasing? Because if they will, then I know that that might not be the only product. I might be able to get a whole generic 10% off, a generic range, or they're up to negotiating. The people within that company have the ability to do discounts. That's what I'm super interested in. So, and once I can understand that and I'm listening to their response, if it's a straight no, I'll keep asking the question. If it isn't, I'm going to keep going back and I'm trying to find out more and more. If I get someone on a call, they're interested in working with people who will bulk buy because at the end of the day, they want to make sales. So it really helps grow that list. And again, 80-20 principle. Work with your top suppliers, buy the bulk from them. Your bottom suppliers, yes, they might make you a nice product which gives you like 100% ROI, but if it's only like, you know, a tiny proportion of your spend, it's really not going to be worth it. Like, it's just extra hassle. So top suppliers are where you can spend your money. It really, really helps. Doesn't mean you can't, over time, you can't work on the next kind of, you know, you've got the top 10, you've asked for a discount, you can go to a tranche and ask the next 10, hey, I'm just going to choose a product. Remember, you can ask for a discount on a product even if you're not going to buy it. You can say, hey, can you do a discount on this? And they're like, yeah, we can, fantastic. And you say, oh, thanks so much. Unfortunately, I brought it to someone else. They could give me a bigger discount, but thanks so much. You don't actually have to buy it. All you're doing is to ask, trying to find out if they give you the discount. That's the important one. And you know, but hey, hopefully that has been useful. Let me know in the comments down below. Has like building a supplier list, is that information that's going to be helpful for you today in this? If it has, please let me down below. Let me know if you enjoyed that comment, like that final top tip when I talked about supplier list. It can be game changing. Let me know in the comments down below. I just want to know if that's helped you out in like how you're thinking about your arbitrage business and what you're doing. So we've got a question here from, I'm not telling you anymore. Does the semi-exclusively get you the most competitive buy price? Affect how low you go on your ROI? Will you tolerate low ROI if you're sure the buy box is yours? Look, I think the question comes, if I give you I've done a video on this called 15 versus 30%. I'm not sure if that's the exact title, but that's on the thumbnail. The idea is, if I were to give you a thing right now is, let's call it 10%. You've got 10%, you can sell it in a month, 10% ROI, sell it in a month and get your money back in a month, or you get 30% ROI, but you can do it in 6 months. Well, we know just by simple maths, if it's a £10, we're not reinvesting profits, by the way, to make it even simpler. £10 with 10% ROI is going to be £1. If you do that 6 times, you're going to make £6 or $6 profit, which is over the course of a 6-month period, is going to be a 60% ROI on the initial £10. But if you're getting a 30% ROI and it takes 6 months to sell, then that means you're going to get $3 profit in the 6-month period. ROI is very useful, but you've got to be very, very careful about looking at ROI in isolation. What I generally recommend doing, and I did it in my 15 versus 30% ROI analysis, is look at the ROI in conjunction with what you can sell or how long it takes to sell. Now, a very good way to do the analysis between 2 different products, which take 2 different amounts of time to sell, one might be 2 months, one might be 5 months, and it's not that easy, is to try and work out what the ROI would be per year. It's called annualized ROI. So if it's 2 months and it's 20%, well, you're going to do 2. You can do it 6 times in a year. So 6 times 20% ROI would be 120% ROI. Now, if you're getting 30% ROI in, let's call it 5 months, well, 5 goes into 1 year twice, so that'd be a 60% ROI. You might call it a little bit more if you do it exactly. But the idea is your 20% ROI is actually better over the year than it is the 30% ROI. Why? Because you're selling the products quicker. Now, we all know in the Amazon business is that people, let me put it this way, it doesn't really matter what ROI you can get. What matters is when you actually sell it, what happens there. So if you're going to hold out a whole year to get 100% ROI, but you could have flipped it 20 times or 10 times at 30% ROI, you'd much do it at 30% ROI. So coming back to the question here, does semi-exclusivity get you the most competitive buy price? Most likely, yes. At the end of the day, in this game, we are all competing on the same listing, and generally speaking, price is the key factor. We are competing on our sell price. So if you can buy better than someone else, that's going to mean a better ROI, and you're more likely to drop your price to be the most competitive. Now, if you can get it 10% cheaper, that means you're happy to drop your ROI a bit, which might mean 25% ROI for you, but everyone else who didn't get that 10% with the supplier, they're going to be getting 10% ROI. So that's just going to be game changing for you because you're still making a pretty decent margin where they're struggling. And then the other one is not just about, don't look at the ROI in isolation, tolerating a lower ROI to get the buy box. So think about, if I were to get the buy box today and get this product sold in a week, or if I had to wait 3 months to get it sold at a higher ROI, what would I rather take? And then do the calculation to do what's known as annualized ROI. You could just type in annualized ROI on Google and see how it works. But that should be the metric you're looking at in your head. Why? Because if we all started with just $100 and we could sell it once for 50% ROI in 1 year, oh, wow, I've made 50% ROI. Everyone's going to post that. Be like, wow, your ROI is amazing. I wish I could get that. But if someone else said I only got 10% ROI, but I could sell it in a month, 10% ROI on $100 over the course of a year is 120% ROI. And everyone's gonna be like, man, your ROI sucks. But at the end of the year, the person who sold with 10% ROI, flipped it a lot more times, is gonna have more cash profit than the person who sold at 50% ROI or even 100% ROI once. Just remember that. ROI in isolation is a dangerous game. ROI, when looking at the time period to sell, is how you should really be doing the analysis. So that's what I'd think about, and that's how I look at my business and the way of doing it. And hopefully that example I've just given you, it helps you understand why that's important. So anyone can show a great ROI. Anyone can get, my God, my Amazon business in USA right now is doing like 70% ROI, which is fantastic. But I'm not being competitive, and I've got no need to be competitive. But I'll probably drop that once I start wanting to turn my money right now. Or turn my money more. So hopefully that has let you know. So let me know down in the comments. But hey, thank you. Great question. Really great question. Lenny's mentioned golden nuggets all round. Thanks. Honestly, Lenny, glad I can help you. If there's anything else I can do, please drop it in the comments below. I'll probably wrap up after this just due to time. And then I'm not telling you my name. I love that. Thank you very much. Excellent tips as ever. Genuinely very useful. Cool. Honestly, I'm glad. Honestly, I'm really helpful that you come spend this time with me, but also that I can share you some nuggets which are going to help you out in your business and things that I see. like that are going to help grow your business and just grow you faster. So hopefully that's been useful and help grow your business. Fantastic. A lot of people ask you like, hey, why do you do this? Why do you talk about these things? It's like, because Amazon represents billions upon billions of dollars and pounds worth of revenue per year. And even at me doing 7 figures, or soon to be 7 figures, like I'm just a fraction of that. Like, my God, I by helping others, other people help me, and then my business grows. So I'm never going to hold that whole $1 billion or 58 billion, whatever Amazon's doing. I'm just a tiny portion of it. So if I can help others, great. And what I've seen is that other people help me. So by sharing, people share back with me, and I learn so much from that as well. So I'm really happy to share. So what I will say is I appreciate the time. I'm going to wrap it up. But hopefully that's been useful for you today about building a supplier list. That's about how we approach it, what we do, and what I do. I'd also just recommend, if you are just starting out, maybe you're not sure, do look at just go to YouTube, Fast Track FBA, top supplier list. We have a UK and a USA one. They are based off the suppliers which we have done in the UK and the USA, based off Fast Track FBA leads. So it's really useful. But I think for you is, hopefully that's been useful. Do use that supplier list, build that. It's going to help grow your business. Keep it simple and spend your money where it's going to work. But I will say, and I'm not telling you to shoot off, honestly, take care and thank you very much. But for you guys, thank you so much for spending your evening, your morning, or whatever with me. Hopefully you've learned something. And if there's anything I can learn from you, please share. But hey, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Keep hustling your Amazon business. Bye-bye.